Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's tutorial we're going to make this wall hanging decor. I don't know what you'd call it. What it is I took the water lily block that I made and I turned it into water lilies in the pond wall decor. So what I did is I just, I connected it with a mesh and I attached it to a dowel rod and then attached it to a little push pin. So there's a couple things you're going to need. First, you're going to need a hot glue gun. Second, you're going to need, I left the sticker on here so I don't forget, a 3/8 by 36 inch, 3/8 of an inch, meaning how thick it is, by 36 inch dowel rod. It doesn't have to be 36 inches, it can be a little bit smaller. So what I have here, this is Red Heart Super Saver in the color Orchid. This is Red Heart Super Saver in the color Hunter Green. And this is Red Heart Super Saver in the color Turqua. T-U-R-Q-U-A. Turqua. And on this green, you're going to need two skeins of that Hunter Green. We're going to use a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And that is it. If you guys want to see the video for how to make your water lily block, I'll leave a link in the description box so you guys can go right to that. Or you know what, you could use any square you want to. All you have to do is just evenly space out double crochet, chain one, double crochet, chain one, all that. And make sure your square count is the same all the way around on all of them. So I have 9 squares here, and you could do, you could just do 6. You could do more, whatever you want to do. So get your squares made and get back here, and I'm going to show you guys how we're going to sew these together, or not sew, but double crochet these together and add it to our dowel rod. Okay guys, so you've got your 9 squares made, and we're ready to sew them together. Now I've already done this side, but we're gonna work this side together, and on this side you do the you do the exact same thing that we're doing together on camera. So get your skein of Turqua, and we are going to get started. So as you've seen, I have my squares laid out 3 by 3. So what we're gonna do, I'm move my stuff a little bit. Okay, so how we're going to do this is we are going to put the right sides of our squares together so the flowers are on top of each other. And if I sound funny, I kind of feel like I've got a cold coming on or something. My nose is a little stuffy and my throat hurts. But anyhow, go on from that. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a slip knot on our hook. And my other light isn't on, I just noticed that. There. Okay. Get a slip knot on your hook. And we are going to attach to this top square, right into that chain 2 space. So go right in there. Slip stitch. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1. And we're going to work a double right back into there. And chain 1. So now we're going to come, move that a little. So now we're going to come to our bottom square, and we're going to skip our chain, that chain 2 space, and we're going to go right into that next double. See it? There. We're skipping the chain 2 and we're going right into that first double with a double, chain 1. So after every double that we work, doesn't matter if it's the top or the bottom square, we're chaining 1. Okay, so we worked in the bottom, we come back to the top. So now that, we worked into this chain 2, we're going to skip the next double crochet and double crochet into the next. So that's the basis of this mesh way of connecting our squares. We double crochet into this, chain 1, come back to our back square, skip the next, double crochet into the next, chain 1, come back to your top square, there's the double we're into, skipping the next one and going into the next, chain 1, skip, double into this one, chain 1, come back to your top, skip the next stitch. And what I mean by, you know, skipping the stitches, the next stitches, there's always a double crochet that we skipped between our doubles, right? So go ahead and work this down your 2 squares, and I'm going to meet you at this corner right here. Okay, so I'm coming to my corner. The last double crochet I worked was on my top square. I chained 1, so I'm coming back, skip the next double, double into the next, chain 1, yarn over, come back to my top square, skip the next, double crochet into the very last double, chain 1. So I'm on the bottom square, I'm skipping the next double and I'm going right into the chain space. Now right here is where we're going to do something a little different. So I work that double, chain 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going straight into that chain space on the top square. Chain 1. Now I'm going to grab my next square, lay it flower to flower, and we're going to go, let's see, the last one I worked was in the top, so we're going to go straight into our bottom right here. Yarn over, right into that chain 2 space, double crochet, chain 1, and right into the chain space of our top square with a double and chain 1. Okay. So now we are going to go right into that first double crochet of our bottom square with our double, chain 1, and now on our top square we're going to skip this, our first double crochet, and go into our second one. So basically what we're doing is we're just going to kind of pretend one of those double crochets in the chain space isn't there. Okay, so now we just keep working like we were. Skip, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip, double crochet in the next, chain 1, and keep going down. So go ahead and work this down to the corner, and I will meet you guys in the next corner, or last corner actually, on this strip. Okay, so I'm coming to our next corner. I just worked my double here, chained 1, come into my top square, skip the next double, double into that, chain 1, give you some slack, come to my bottom square, skip the next double, double into the next, chain 1, to my top square, I skip, and my last double goes right into the, not my last double, the double goes into the last double, chain 1, and we're going to go right into the chain space of our bottom square, chain 1, and we're going to go right into the top chain 2 space. Oops, the hook fell off. Okay, so now we're to our bottom square. Take my last square, flowers together. My last double that I worked was on my top, so the first double I'm going to go work is going to be on my bottom square in the chain 2 space. So I chain 1, go right into that chain space, chain 1, go right into the chain space of my top square, double, chain 1, okay, so for our bottom square, we're going to go ahead and we're going to double right into that first double. Chain 1, come to our top square, and we're going to skip our first double on this one and go into the next with a double. Chain 1, and we're rocking and rolling on this one now. Chain 1, skip into the next with a chain 1 or a double, chain 1. Okay, so go ahead and repeat what you've been doing, and I'll meet you when you guys get to the, or when I get to the bottom of our squares down here. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got a couple more stitches to work into before I'm at the end. So I just doubled on this side, chained 1, and come to my top square, skip, go into the next with a double, chain 1, come back to my bottom square, skip, go into the next, chain 1, come over here, skip, go into the last, chain 1, and now we're going to work 1 into both squares, chain 2 space. So there's 1 double, chain 1, 1 double, chain 1, pull up. Oh, I lost my scissors. There they are. Cut. And there we go. So now we have got all of the vertical seams sewn together. Now I know this spot kind of, you know, it looks a little funny, but we're going to work right behind all that. And we need it to be long like this because we, you know, if this wasn't long, it'd pull it up like this. And then when we work this same stitch this way, it would be all bunched up, right? Because there's no give between here. But now that we did that, see all the space that we have now? Okay, so you guys go ahead and get your other seam. It should be, you know, the same way for both. You know, the same how we worked our corners. See how these two match? And if it doesn't, it's alright. No big deal. So go ahead and get your other vertical seam done. Get both of yours done and come back here and we're going to work the horizontal seams. Okay guys, so we got both of our vertical seams sewn. Now we're going to work on our horizontal. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our top to the middle, rotate. I've already got my vertical one here, so you can see what it's going to look like when you're finished. Okay, so what we are going to do is I'm going to start in my top corner right here, and I'm going to attach to the bottom square in our chain 2 space, just like normal. Okay, so into the chain 2 of your bottom, attach with a slip stitch, okay, chain 1 and work a double. Chain 1, grab your top square, we're going to skip our chain 2 and go right into our first double. Chain 1, come to our bottom square, skip, and into the next double. chain one, and then you guys kind of got the idea by now. So go ahead and work this until you get to your corner or connecting right here, and I'll come back when we get closer to that. Alrighty, so I'm coming to our corner. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, so my last one I worked over here on my top square, double, chain one. I'm going to come back over here, skip one, come back over here on the top square. We're right into the chain two space, chain one, come back over here. I'm in the, oop, forgot to yarn over. I'm into the last double, chain one. Now I'm going to come what I'm going to do is, see this bar right here? I'm going to double crochet right around that. Chain one. So I last worked into the bottom square, worked the double, so my next stitch I'm going to go right into the chain two space of our top square. Chain one, yarn over. I'm going to go ahead and come into this chain two space on the bottom square, chain one. So basically we just kind of work right across there. Okay, so this side, the top square, I'm going to skip the first double and go into the next double with a double, chain one. Come down here. I'm going to go, nope, I'm sorry, I messed that up. We're going to go into the first double on the top. There we go, chain one. Come down here and we're going to skip the first double and go into the second. Chain one, come to the top, skip the next. Alright, we got it now. I'm sorry about that. So go ahead and keep working your double chain one, skipping, double chain one. And I'll meet you guys when we get to our next connector right there. Okay, so I've come to my next corner. I worked my last double over here, chain one, so I'm going to come to this side, skip the next, and right into the last double of the square, work a double, chain one, and into my top square, I'm going right into that chain two space, chain one, see, get the tails out of the way. See that bar right there? We're going to double crochet right around that. Chain one. So the last stitch I worked was in the top square, so I'm going to come straight to the bottom, double, chain one, in the chain two. On the top square, I'm going to double, chain one, okay, so now, ooh, I got a knot in my yarn. Okay, so now we are going to come back to our bottom and we're going to skip the first and go into the second. Come into the top. And we're going to go right into the first. Chain one. And go ahead and repeat that not that, but I mean repeat what you've been doing to the end of these 2 squares, and I will meet you guys there. This is turning out a lot prettier than I thought it was going to. I'm excited. Okay, go ahead and finish that to all the way to the end. Okay, so I'm coming to the end. I just worked into the back, so now I'm coming to the front. Chain 1, skip into the next, chain 1. I'm going to go ahead and work into the chain 2 space, chain 1, come back, I'm into the chain 2 space, chain 1, pull up, and we are done. This came out really good, you guys. I'm excited. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, after we get this all done and ready to hang, we're gonna straighten out our water lilies a little bit because they're kind of crunched from maneuvering everything. But what I want you guys to do, and on this square it doesn't really matter, you know, which one you have as your top as or your bottom, because you know they're the same. But what I'm gonna do, okay, so I've got my piece laid out. Here's my left side and my right side. I'm gonna take my left side, I'm gonna bring this left corner right to me. Get a slip knot on our hook. And I'm going to attach right into that chain 2. Chain 1 and go right back in with a double. Chain 1, skip the first double, double into the second. Chain 1, skip, double into the next. Chain 1, skip, double into the next, and this is going to be our border. So go ahead and repeat this until we get to this connecting piece right here. Okay, I've made it to this corner, or well, our connecting right here. I worked into the last double of this side of the square, chain 1. Now I'm going to work right in between this double and the chain 1 and the single crochet. I'm just going to go right around that chain 1. Work a double, chain 1. Now I'm going to come right into this space, work a double, chain 1, and I'm going to go right around this double, a double, chain 1, right into the chain 2 space, double, chain 1, skip the first double, into the second, and we're on our way again. So go ahead and continue down this square with your double, chain 1, skip double, double, chain 1, skip the next double, double in the next, chain 1. Repeat that till we get down to the last connection, and I'll meet you guys back there. Okay, so I've come to the next connection, or connecting corner, you know, and right here my last stitch happened to come into my very last double on a green. So I chain 1 and I went right straight into that chain 2 space. That's alright. So now what we're going to do is we're going to double around this double, chain 1, double right around the top of this next double right here, chain 1, and then I'm going to go right between the double crochet and the chain 1 and slip stitch right there. So I've still got 3 in that area. Chain 1, and now I'm going to go right into that chain 2 space, chain 1, sorry, that was off camera, right into that chain 2 space, skip, double, chain 1, skip your first double, and go into the next, chain 1, and go ahead and continue working like we have been until you get to that, which is actually, you know, our normal corner. Get to this corner. So go ahead and work like you normally have till we get to this corner. And I will meet you guys there. Okay, so I've come to this corner. My last stitch is in my last double. That's okay. We're going to chain 1 and we're going to go into the chain 2 space with a double, chain 1, go right back in there with another double, chain 1, and now we're just going to continue across like normal. Skip, double into the next, chain 1, skip, double into the next, chain 1. You guys know what to do. So just go ahead and work from this corner. So now we are across the bottom. Oop, I bumped the camera. So go ahead and work across there like normal, and I'll meet you guys at this intersection. Okay, so I've come to the corner. My last stitch was in my last double. Chain 1, I'm going to go right into that chain 2 space with a double, chain 1, I'm going to go around this double with a double, chain 1, around the next double with a double, chain 1, and I'm going to go right between the single and the double, or I'm sorry, not the single, the attaching chain 1 and slip stitch. Chain 1, and I'm going to go right into that chain 2 space and start over like normal. So now that you guys know, how we are working the corner and how we're connecting, I want you guys to go ahead and work across, to our corner, work up, and stop at the last corner right here. Okay, so work all the way around and I'll meet you guys back there. Sorry about this, guys, but I forgot to mention, when you just have a normal double crochet right here, yeah, let me pull that out. See how this doesn't have the connecting slip stitch in the chain 1? We still want 3 double crochet across our connection, right? So I've got double, chain 1. I'm going to go ahead and double right here, chain 1. See how I'm close to this bar right here? And I'm just going to double again around that. Because normally we would double right in between that connecting slip stitch and chain 1 and the double. But since we only got 1 double, we're just going to work around all that. Chain 1 and then go into our chain 1 and continue as usual. Skip the first, chain 1, skip. Okay, so now work all the way around and I'll meet you guys at the end. Okay guys, so I'm back up to my corner and now I'm ready to attach my dowel rod to the top of my wall decor. I've started on top left, down, around the bottom, up the top, and stopped on the top right. I forgot to work my last double in there. Okay, my last double is in there. So chain 1, double, chain 1, double, chain 1, and I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Okay, so we are going to start double crocheting around our dowel rod. Now I'm not gonna lie, you guys, this is a bunch of bad words to work around, but we're gonna do it. We can do this. Okay, so I'm gonna yarn over. Got my dowel rod. I'm gonna go right under there, grab a loop, pull up, pull through 2 loops, pull through 2 loops, chain 1. Come to my square. I'm gonna skip the first, go into the second with a double. So a lot of finagling. Chain 1, yarn over, and we're going to go around the dowel again. Pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn split, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1. I'm going to stay with you guys for a while on this. Yarn over, skip the next double into the next double with a double crochet, chain 1, yarn over, and we're going to come back around our dowel, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that second loop I always split like 20 different pieces. There, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, come back to our square, skip the next double, into the next double, a double crochet, and a chain 1. And this is what it's starting to look like. Alright, so yarn over, go around our dowel, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1, yarn over, back to our square, skip, go into the next with a double, chain 1, yarn over, come back to our dowel, go around, and I'm letting the yarn pull through my hands, double, chain 1, back to our square with a double, chain 1, now back to our dowel, pull through 1, crap, whew, this is a pain, chain 1, yarn over, back around there, pull through 1, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1. I wonder if it's kind of easier if I pinch right there. Okay, back to the square, skip the next, double into the next, just like we have been. Yarn over, come back to the dowel, double, chain 1. And this is what we got so far. And these slide, so we can move those around as need be. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the off camera. We're going to do the same thing that we have been. Work your one double, chain 1, 1 double, chain 1, and on this we're back to working between our double crochet and our starting point, and then continue along. And I am going to meet you guys at the end because this is going to take me a while. Okay, so I'm to my corner. I work the double crochet in my last double, so I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to come around this dowel, chain, woo, about lost it, chain 1, come back, and I'm going to go right into the chain 2 space, chain 1. Try to keep my stuff together because I'm so scared this is going to come right off the edge of this dowel rod, and I'm going to have to start over because this is the biggest pain. Okay, so I worked into the chain 2 space, chain 1, come around the dowel rod, chain 1, come back, and I'm going to work my first double around here, chain 1, come back around the dowel rod, chain 1, come back, and I'm going to work right around here, right around the top of this double, the double, chain 1, come back around the dowel, chain 1, come back, and I'm going to go right between the beginning slip stitch and chain 1. So right between, right in there. Chain 1, go around the dowel, and we are on second block. I'm going to go right into the chain space. I'm trying to work around this tail with a double, chain 1, back to the dowel, back to our square, skip your first double into your next double, and keep chugging along. Chain 1, come back to our square, skip a double, double on the next. Okay, so you guys go ahead and keep, oh geez, working along, and I'll meet you guys back at this next space right here. Okay, so I'm to the next connection. This video is just not going the way I had planned. Okay, so I double crocheted into the last double, chain 1. We're going to come around our dowel, our double, chain 1, go right into our chain 2 of our square, chain 1, yarn over, come around our dowel, chain 1, we're going to go right in between these two and go around our double, chain 1, back around our dowel, chain 1, go ahead and we're going to go right around that double again, closer to that center piece right there, come back to our dowel, chain 1, run this last double, chain 1, eye itches. Okay, back to the dowel, chain 1, back to the chain 2 of our square, chain 1, up to the dowel, chain 1, and just continue across like usual, and I'll meet you guys when we get close to this end right here. Oh, will I be happy. Okay, I'm coming to the end. I worked this stitch, so now I need to chain 1, come back to the dowel, work my double, chain 1, come back into the last double crochet. I'm going to work my double, chain 1 around my dowel. I'm so glad this is done. I'm going to come back and I am going to slip stitch to my first double. Do that on camera. I'm just going to right into the top of that first double with a slip stitch, chain 1, pull up, and we are done. That was a pain, and now I can't find my scissors. Oh. But anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to weave in all these ends. Where on earth are my... Here's the pair. We're going to weave in these ends. And when we come back, I'm going to show you how we're going to go from what we have to hanging on the wall. So get your ends weaved in and come back here. Okay, so I've got all my ends weaved in, and I cut roughly about 5 foot of my blue yarn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to hot glue, not that way, I'm sorry. Let's say that's about an inch. I'm going to hot glue this to the dowel rod and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got it hot glued on there and I'm going to let it dry for just a minute. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it back and start wrapping around this. It's hard to do because I've only got one hand. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap around here. And when I get right like this, with the yarn on the back, I'm going to add a little drip of hot glue on the back right here so this stays. So I'm going to get that done and I'm going to come right back. Okay, so I've got that wrapped and hot glued to the back, and I'm going to come up all the way. I'm trying to find my other end there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pretend, move all my stuff out of the way here. I'm going to kind of pretend my finger is where I would like my little push pin that I have in my wall to hold my thing. So I've got from here to about right here. Okay? And then I'm going to attempt to do this one-handed. Prop my phone up. I'm going to hold, come back. Okay, so I've got my length set. And I'm just pinching right there. And I'm going to pull back a little bit so I know I've got enough to wrap. And cut. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other end. I'm going to hot glue about an inch, wrap to the end, and hot glue a little dab on the back so it doesn't unravel. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I did this one backwards. I should have done it the same way, but that's alright. Nobody's going to notice. So what I did is I got a little push pin up there, and I just hung it on the push pin. Oop. shut my light off on accident. I'm sorry. I'll try to get back up so you can see it. Aww. I still got to straighten some stuff out. You know, try to get it centered. Straighten out my doubles at the top. Straighten out my flowers and my squares. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that off camera, and I'll come back and I'll show you guys the finish. Okay, here it is finished. All my squares are straightened out. My water lilies are straightened out. There it is hanging. And you know what? You could add some fringe at the bottom. I wouldn't add too much because I wouldn't want it to get any heavier than it already is. Or you could put, you know, some little danglies here, tassels maybe, on each end. But that's it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed that video and this video and can understand how I sewn the squares together. Because I'm not gonna lie, that wasn't easy. It got confusing. I was confusing myself. It it was tough, but we got her done. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you are subscribed, thank you. If you're new, thank you for joining. In that description box, check out the links to my Facebook, Instagram, Etsy, TikTok, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.